and welcome to And Then We Fought a Dragon.
And then we fought a dragon.
Is that right?
Yes.
Every time I say it, I'm like, How to Train Your Dragon? Yes.
That too. That could be our second title.
But it doesn't matter how long this goes on for. It's foreign. But
They
okay.
have the copyright on this sort of title, but we've taken over.
Fine. Here we are. I'm Desiree.
I'm Becky.
And we are back to campaign 1.
How exciting.
1. I've missed everyone so much.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I got so invested in campaign 2.
Oh, good.
Where I was like, I really want to know what's going on, but also I kind of miss them too. I'll always miss everyone.
Yeah.
I'm happy that we get to find out what's been going on a lot. It's been a year. Over a year.
Yeah.
So that's exciting.
Yeah.
When we were prepping to figure out where we're at, it was kind of a mess. I don't know. My notes.
We had to solve a mystery.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of fun. My notes are just very incoherent and sometimes they're relevant but not in obvious ways. I can't even
date your notes.
Oh yeah, they're not dated. Sorry. Yes. Well, Rebecca asked me, "Do you have dates?" And I just showed her this. No, I don't have dates. I don't even have words.
For those who are listening, Des has shown us a really intricate doodle in her notebook that's pretty cool to look at, but does not involve any dates.
But also, it's just surrounding all the words. It's not it's just a mess. So. If you can picture just mess as notes, that's what I had to try to decipher. So I'm not really going to do much of a recap because they're vague, to say the least. There's funky little dude. What else is even there? Birthday party.
Yeah.
Fight the rogues. This one bullet point here started and just didn't get finished, so I just wrote, did Kirion know it was? We don't know because I didn't finish the thought.
We could have rewatched the past episode and probably had deciphered it then, but where's the fun at?
No, let's not do that.
No.
Be prepared and no. So the very last note is magic door, which was quite difficult, but Rebecca
got there,
figured out exactly what that meant. So I guess you'll take over and kind of start the year-long. Oh, we're not doing the whole year, are we?
No, not in
okay.
But it's not as long as it feels like it should be because we braked. That's not a word. We broke from May-ish to...
That's also, I don't think, the right word.
We took a break from
hiatus
September for a summer campaign. So we didn't actually do campaign 1 for how many months is that? 4 months? Yeah. So there's not as much to catch up on as it sounds like there could be.
Which is sad, but also I think good because we still aren't caught up on campaign 2.
Exactly.
And we've done hour and a half long.
Yeah. So I think this kind of brings us more to a similar timeline of being behind for both campaigns, which is the first time we've ever been kind of in sync. So that's fun.
Yeah, because campaign 2 was so far behind campaign 1 for a while. A year behind campaign 1.
A long time.
9 months maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
And also campaign 2 took a little while to get started.
Yeah, we didn't start recording, I don't think, right away with when I was playing. But
even the story, I felt. And then you got a little bit sick.
We didn't get into some big arcs with campaign 2 as quickly. It was more little individual things. Yeah, for sure.
They definitely, I feel at this point they have a more similar feeling, but at the beginning they felt different. Not even campaign 1, campaign 2, obviously you're not campaign 1, they're totally different people. That makes sense that they feel different, but they didn't even feel the same structure, sphere of anything. They were so different.
Everything's super different. different.
Which is, I mean, fun and good and great. But it's just, for someone obviously from the outside, it was even more of like a, what's going on?
Yeah.
So, anyways.
Well, we're back with campaign 1. So, I should probably reintroduce you to the party members, just in case everyone has forgotten. In campaign 1, I play Kaylin, who is a half-elf ranger. And the party members that I'm hanging out with at the moment are Quinn, who is a dark elf fighter, Selwyn, who is a high elf cleric, Ava, who is a half elf druid, and Kirion, who is a tiefling rogue. And that's our party at the moment. So when we finished last episode, to give some context to Dennis's delightful notes,
barely their notes.
We had just finished the ball that there was a lot of hype going towards. And while we were at the ball, Kirion just kind of like mysteriously disappeared / potentially was kidnapped. And we were trying to like message him with our little bracelets that we have from the Feywild, and things weren't getting through properly, and it was weird. So we decided we were going to track him down and figure out what was going on. And we were pretty sure he was headed to a city called Folter, which is quite far away from where we were. So we got together with a group of artificers that were traveling to Folter, because, you know, it's always good to travel in numbers, and decided we would go with them. And there's this dude in their party named Kellic, who has a robot named Cork, who is now kind of hanging out with us while we go look for Kirion. They're being played by the same character. It's just so the person who plays Kirion has someone to play, basically. So Kellic is hanging out with us now. And
the illusion's shattered.
Wow! We got to Folter. We did some scouting around. We figured out this club, which was essentially like a guild of rogues where Kirion was being held. And we're going to bust him out by going to crash this birthday party that was happening. Ended up blowing our cover, having a huge fight in a full room of rogues, which went about as well as one could predict it would. And
oh wait, this group is a disaster fighting group. I forgot.
Well, someone's also a pacifist. So one of us doesn't even fight.
Yeah, but I wouldn't even, maybe none of you actually fight.
Kaylin does a lot with her bow.
There's a lot of attempts.
No, Kaylin does really good. I do a lot of shooting.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of chaos. Chaos crew for sure. And when the magic door context was that, I can't remember if it was Selwyn or Ava who set the magic on the door, but like essentially it was this magic lock of some kind where only our party members could exit the door so that the rogues couldn't chase us as we were escaping once Kirion had found. And Eva had also put up a wall of fire at one point, so the building's literally burning down around us. Like full on chaos crew. So that's where we meet up. Flynn is scaling
this little hand.
You see him?
I just saw a hand.
Yeah, he's doing a thing. Anyway, that's where we meet the group. We've just left the building that is currently burning down, and Cork, the robot, is just ahead now because he got decapitated during the fight. So Kellic's just running around with Cork's head, basically. And we're leaving as fast as we possibly can. The building's for sure catching fire, but we're not here to firefight. Everyone can get out. It'll be fine. And we start running towards the city gates, trying to stay out of sight as much as possible and just get out of town because we're probably on a hit list with a bunch of rogues who are going to try and kill us. And that would be bad. And as we're running, there's like this flash of light in our peripheral vision, and this person appears, and it's this person who's like interacting with Kellic like they know them really well, and ask like Kellic what they're doing, and are really sad to see that Cork has been decapitated and stuff, and are like offering to take Kellic with them, and Kellic seems on board, and we're all like, wait, what is going on? And then Kellic disappears with them. So basically that was just a really clever way of giving that player only one character to play at a time, because Kirion has been rescued now. So bye, Kellic. Nice knowing you. I'm
so confused, but
mystery
not really.
In character, we're very confused. But we make it to the outskirts of the city. We get out. And from this point, we've kind of been discussing, once we rescue Kirion, we're hoping to head to this town called Alhana. And we're kind of like, maybe we should just go to Alhana straight from here. And obviously, Folter is not a super hospitable place to us at the moment. So as we're getting to this sheltered area, suddenly a figure comes bolting out of the woods, running towards us, and like throws themselves at Kirion. And it's Primrose, who is Kirion's ex-girlfriend, who seemed to be at the ball around the time he disappeared. And the rest of us aren't thrilled to see her. But Kirion just asked her, so the plan didn't work then? And she says, oh, she tried so hard, but she couldn't get him out, and they didn't even pay her the full amount. And, like, she seems kind of genuine about some of these things, but she probably also didn't try that hard to rescue Kirion. She seems a little bit backstabby.
Oh, you met her at the ball, right?
We met her at the ball.
Okay, I totally remember that. Yes.
And she was just a little, too friendly with us kind of thing. So we're not huge fans of her. So Kirion just kind of ignores Primrose and asks Selwyn if she can cast a Zone of Truth spell so that no lying can happen in this conversation. So Selwyn throws that up, and Primrose is now unable to lie outright, so she's just kind of dodging questions. Like, she's still doing her best not to tell the truth, and it's pretty clear. And she's like, Kirion, don't you trust me? And he's like, heck no, I don't trust you, not even a little bit. So that's good for us to know. That's reassuring. And it comes out that Primrose had kind of kidnapped / blackmailed Kirion to come with her from the ball. And, she was worried about his safety with these. If she could find him, the rogues could find him, and he was in trouble because they, had a warrant out for him, basically. And they had this plan that they concocted that Kirion was going to get turned in to the rogues who have been searching for him. Primrose would collect the bounty, and then she'd bust him out, and they'd split the bounty and, be rich forever kind of thing. And she'd also given him a special magic bracelet that would block our messages from getting through and make the big wild bracelets we had null and void. And that's why our messages to him were all kind of static and not going through properly. And so it comes out that was an evil bracelet. And so she begrudgingly gives him back his original one, and he takes off hers because she's a horrible person. And so Kirion's like, hey, so give me my half of the money. And actually, I want extra because I was your fall guy. And she won't give him extra, but she gives him the rest of his stuff. And she's like, we could still leave together, like we always talked about. We could still go traveling. And Kirion's like, yeah, no, I'm moving on. I'm done with you. We're done. So,
thank goodness.
Yeah, that was good to see, taking a firm stance. And then Primrose offers to hook us up with someone to, clearly this is an inhospitable town, so she can hook us up with someone to get us out of town. And we're like, heck no, we don't trust anyone who comes on your recommendation. Goodbye. So at least we made some good life choices, I think, with that one.
Yeah.
And he leaves.
Very, very good life choices.
Yeah. Pat ourselves on the back for that one.
Yeah.
So as Primrose leaves, we're like, Kirion, my man, WTF, what was going on? And he's like, yeah, so it turns out he thought she was dead until he ran into her at the ball. And she's not dead. Surprise. And I didn't pick up any undead vibes from her. I have some senses that do that. So she seems to be not a zombie. So that's good. And Selwyn then just punches Kirion because she feels he deserves it. And in doing so, breaks her vow of pacifism. Her first violence ever is punching Kirion, which just seems so poetic, really.
Not all those times we're like, we just need one more. What about the games where you literally needed a certain amount of people?
Yeah. Well, she was there. She was just healing, which is also important.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's beautifully poetic that her first violence was punching Kirion.
It's good.
So we set up a makeshift camp, take our long rest, and then we need to figure out how to get to Ahana, because it's it's like across an ocean, basically, to get to. So we need to figure out a mode of transport other than our feet. I jokingly offer, I have a magic cloak, Kaylin, that has patches on it that I can pull them off and they become things. One of the things is a rowboat. So I'm like, I mean, I could get us a rowboat if we want to row across the ocean, but that's not taken on board. So we decide we're going to walk across.
That sounds bad.
Yeah, it would be a bad pen. So we're kind of on like a peninsula. We're on this side of the peninsula. There's a town on the other side, and then Elhana's across the ocean over there. So we're going to walk on foot across the peninsula to this town called Dirtmouth, and then see if we can get maybe like an airship or a water ship across the ocean from there. And someone quickly sends a sending to the artificers to say thank you for them helping us get here, and that we're heading on, and sends a bye to Quincy from Quinn in particular, because Quinn and Quincy kind of had like a little will they, won't they thing going on. So we're all shipping that really hard and trying to push them together. So that's good. And then we start setting out for Dirtmouth. And it's a nice, easy day travel. It's just kind of familiar, calm nature. We reach a small farming community and stay the night there. And then the second day of travel, we're kind of like, Selwyn, can you remind us why we're going to Elhana? Like, this was your idea, but like, is there a reason we're going here? And as it turns out, Selwyn has a crystal emerald earring that her mother is trapped in. And a friend of Eldath, Selwyn's deity, says that there's someone in Elhana who can help get her mother out. And Selwyn's like, I think it would be really good to have my mom on our side if we have to fight Prisoner 61 again. And we're like, I mean,
I was literally going to say, the pink guy.
What?
The pink guy.
The pink guy, yeah, Prisoner 61. She's like, yeah, it would be really good to have my mom to help us if we have to fight him again. And we're like, it would also just be really good to save your mom who's stuck in an earring, actually. And she's like, yeah, but I felt maybe you guys needed a more practical reason if we were going to go all this way to save her. And we're like, saving your mom from life in an earring is a pretty practical reason.
That's so funny.
Yeah. So,
I didn't mention my earring mom before this?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, we met her mom in Eleanor, kind of. Like, her mom was in prison there. So something's happened between that time, right, where her mom is now suddenly in an earring. And we're like, well, can you talk to your mom in the earring? Like, can you communicate somehow? And she's like, oh, I haven't actually tried. So she tries casting sending into the earring and gets like this faint but kind of incomplete reply. Like, she can't fully have conversation with it. So her mom's there and alive in this earring. But we're like, yeah, okay, let's go save your mom. We're going to Elhana. We arrive at Dirtmouth in the afternoon, and it's like this low spread out town with a large airfield. They're kind of like where airships are sort of designed, or one of the places where it's kind of a big thing there. And so they've got an airfield with these two large smoking airship contraptions. And it's kind of on the edge of the water, but not so much a coastal town. It really is more about the airships than sea ships. And it's a bustling city of like mechanics and artificer people, mostly halflings and gnomes. So as a rather tall group, Selwyn in particular decides to disguise herself to be a little shorter because she's 6 foot, which is like 3 feet taller than most of the people we're walking around. So just to kind of be less sticking out like a sore thumb, she makes herself only 5 foot tall. And we head to like find the nearest inn or pub or something to get directions for airship tickets and rent some rooms. And the barkeep there says, yeah, there's probably an airship leaving soonish if you want to trust flying in one of those things. And we're like, well, what do you mean? And he's like, oh, they're fairly safe. And now we're like, well, what do you mean? And so we're not as confident as we were all of a sudden. And he introduces us to this airship owner named Yoris. And Yoris is like, oh, yeah, a flight to Elhana would be a good test run flying over the sea. And we're like, a test run? Okay. And he's like, yeah, I've got a 3-balloon ship. And I think we got at least like a 62.7% chance of success getting there. We're like, that's not very high, actually.
That's actually like, if you're talking about air travel, pretty stinking low.
Pretty low. And so Ava and Gwyn are really not on board anymore with this whole airship idea. Kaylin's like not fully convinced, but not completely opposed yet. And Kirion and Selwyn are like, yes, let's go on an airship, which is very in their character. And then Eurus mentions, he could hire us on as crew members and then he'd actually pay us. We wouldn't even have to buy tickets. And now Kaylin's like, oh, actually, free air travel sounds pretty good, maybe. And Ava and Quinn are getting a little more on board now. And he's like, yeah, we can leave bright and early tomorrow. I think it would only take like a day's travel if we get good wind. And if we meet him tomorrow morning, he'll have contracts ready for us and we can go. And so we're like, okay, let's give this a go. Even if the ship goes down, I feel like we've got enough magic around that we can save ourselves at least, basically. So he leaves. He's like, enjoy your last night on land because tomorrow we'll be in the sky. And he's a little eccentric, but
enthusiastic sounding.
Yeah, he's very enthusiastic. So we're like, okay, that's fine. Most of us take an early night. Kirion and Selwyn decide to pull an all-nighter just for kicks, but that's fine. And then the next morning we head to the airfield and Joris is like, yeah, the winds are looking great, we should have a good day of travel. And he starts like assigning us tasks and we start learning how to sail the airship. And we're in the air and we start flying and it's very exciting. So the airship is like, you've seen Treasure Planet, right?
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
So how it looks like a ship, but then with, that one has magical sails, but this one has like almost hot air balloon oval sausages along either side and below the airship that kind of hold it afloat. And then there's
kind of like the ship in Stardust.
Kind of. Yeah, like a mix between Treasure Planet and Stardust ships. Yeah.
Good ships.
I am throwing a hot air balloon there because there's a balloon at the top as well. So yeah, there's a lot going on. Fun ships. We like air travel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, do we?
We hope we do. We have a 62.7% chance of liking air travel. They're like painted red, orange, and yellow, so like really bright, fun-colored balloons. And there's propellers actually on either side in the front and like a little engine tucked in the back to help us so we're not just subject to the winds. And it's called the Bright Star. And they have a crew of 4 plus us 5. So there's Captain Eurus, who is a gnome, and he's married to Hadessa, who is a red tiefling woman who seems to be kind of like a wizardy type. She's sitting sort of in the center of the ship, meditating on something. And then there's Callie, who's kind of like irritable and snappy, but she's there. Seems to know what she's doing. And Bree, who's this like kind of quick and quiet elven girl. And Eurus gives us like 8 to 9 hours of travel. So by hour 2, Dirtmouth is out of sight behind us. We're flying like 2,000 feet in the air. Hadassah, turns out, is conjuring fire elementals inside the balloons to create the hot air. So that's meditating. She has to concentrate super hard. If she stops concentrating, they disappear. We run out of hot air in our balloons, basically. So we need to make sure Hadassah can concentrate. But that's like 8 to 9 hours of concentration. So that's a lot of work for her. So we have to be really nice to her, basically. We get like 4 hours in without mishap. And then hour 5, a storm starts rolling in and like the ship is shaking a little bit as we travel forward and there's sleet falling and it's kind of cold. So some of the cargo basically is sliding about as the ship goes, and Selwyn and Ava use some magic to hold it in place so that we don't lose anything and we pull through the storm. And then hour 6, Eurus pops out of the wheelhouse and it calls Callie over. The navigation systems are acting up and he needs help fixing the propeller fin down below, which means someone needs to rappel down under the ship to fix it.
A very loud truck went by, sorry.
Oh.
I shouldn't interrupt, but it sounded like it's scary. Okay.
Oh.
Keep going.
So yeah, the navigation systems are acting up. And he needs help fixing the propeller fin, which means someone's going to need to rappel down under the ship to actually fix it. So Callie and Kirion are kind of, I guess, our nimblest folks. So they rappel down under the ship with Ava and Quinn, who are, I guess, our muscle, holding their ropes. And Kirion nearly slips and falls to his death, but Callie catches him. And they fix the propeller and get back up on deck. So that's good. Wind is good so far. We're making up the time that we lost in the storm. By now it's past noon and we're starting to get kind of dozy, playing card games on deck to keep ourselves awake. Yoris has told us to watch for birds because we don't want birds flying into the propellers. That would be bad. And
but even if you saw the birds, what would you do about it?
Shoot them before they got into our propellers. I don't know. But as we're looking, we see an Aarakocra flying above, which is a bird folk. So
okay.
A giant bird person. And
why?
Because it's D&D.
I know. Okay, I get it. I'm all for fantastical creatures and all that stuff. But the snake people and the bird people, scary.
Why are the bird people scary? Snake people I get. But bird people?
It's just I think just the combo in maybe it's because the way I imagine them has to be the most absurd possible. Like once you actually explained what the Yuan-ti looked like, I was like, okay, less scary. But what I was imagining was horrifying.
Me, the bird folk you're picturing then, and I'll send you a picture later.
Well, I just imagine they have like bird body, bird head, but also human arms and legs.
How are they flying?
With their wings. They have a bird body and a bird head, but they also have human arms and legs.
That would be pretty horrifying. Okay, should be picturing is a human-sized bird. Okay. That's it. With like the ability to speak and have, rational human style thought.
Then they shouldn't be called bird people. They should just be called sentient birds.
Okay, an Aarakocra is a sentient bird.
That's way less scary. And every time I picture them, they're in this like very characterized like style, like very like sketch kind of drawing,
right?
Like not hyper realistic, but not like real like actual, but like a drawing. So I just imagine like and just like these muscly legs and arms that are like out back.
This is the most disturbing part of your imagining, for real. Human legs on a bird would be horrifying. And
the worst part is I was picturing they don't wear pants because they have a bird body. So it's just
they have a bird butt, so they have no pants. They're just legs.
Just naked legs.
That is the weirdest thing ever. I understand why you were horrified.
And no shoes.
Beautiful. I love it. Thank you for painting that mind picture so much.
I wish, because you were telling the story, I wish there was also just a little screen to the side showing everything that I'm picturing. Because if you could be like, if you're talking and like it's just appearing, you'd be like, what's happening
to make you think that?
Be like, I'm so afraid.
Now I understand why campaign 2 was a horror campaign for so long.
But also the funniest part is the Yuan-ti weren't scary to me. They were so off-puttingly gross. Because I was picturing big snakes with little human arms.
Giant salamanders. Oh, okay, so generally, as a rule in D&D, when something is an animal person, it has no human features. It's just the animal with like sentient thought.
Well, I'm gonna choose to forget that after this point because my version is funny.
It really is. funnier.
Okay, well, I'm glad the bird people aren't gross and weird looking.
Yeah. No, the Aarakocra, the bird person, it's like a snowy owl flying above us, and it's got like
a snowy owl.
Yeah, a snowy owl person.
I'm picturing.
Okay, what were you picturing? Like
I didn't even explain what type of bird. I was picturing like a stork.
There could be stork Aarakocra. This particular one is a snowy owl.
Yeah, but a stork, my version. So the longest neck, little arms and legs.
Wow. That's a special mind picture.
Okay, I like your version a little bit better for rational, parts of the story.
But it's like, it's even got a vest on and a little hat. It's a little, well, not little, they're big. They're big size.
It is, sorry, we will get on it, but it is bizarre that my mind goes to that, because there's nothing. There's no fantasy book series, movies, nothing that's ever been weird and bizarre that way, that would put like that in my head.
It's great. I love it. You should write a children's story.
I think that's the problem. In my head, there's so many stories and thoughts, and it turns into the wild and weird real quick.
Totally.
Okay, so your nice snowy owl friend,
snowy owl
established
above us, and starts singing a little tune, and Kaylin and Quinn become almost a bit mesmerized by the song. One might even say charmed by the song that it's singing. And then from below and around the ship, 5 more Aarakocra appear, some of which have weapons. And now it seems like we're in an initiative situation. So Kaylin,
they're so pretty, yeah. No, they're not pretty. They're scary.
Bad vibes. Maybe they're pirates, actually. So Kaylin thankfully manages to shake off the charm and is able to hunter's mark the bard. And I shot at them 3 times, because then they lose concentration and the charm drops. So then, because when you're charmed, you're not able to really attack things generally. So one of the Aarakocra flies down and like tries to get into our cargo hold, but kind of stumbles dramatically across the deck. So that's funny. And then 2 of them go down at one of the balloons and start like slashing at it. Like they're trying to cut open our balloons, which is bad.
Yeah.
Because we need to fly. And these balloons are all kind of like,
without the balloons, you're a boat in the air.
Yeah. So the balloons are kind of, I mean, in anticipation that they might have situations where they're getting partially popped, are in kind of compartments all together. So you can pop segments of it without the whole balloon deflating, but they managed to pop one of the segments. So Ava wild shapes into a giant eagle and flies down to start kind of attacking these ones that are at the balloons. And then 2 more of them try to use like spears to jam the propellers, but aren't able to, thankfully, because that would also be bad. And, we're shooting at them, we're attacking them. And Selwyn suddenly runs and like bolts off the ship and launches herself at one of the Aarakocra and just grabs it in midair, grappling it. And they both just start plummeting down. And we're like, oh, I hope you know what you're doing, Selwyn. Okay. And yours is like, okay, let's try to outfly them, because we're beating them pretty well at this point. But then one pierces a second balloon, but we're still, we can get through. And we're shooting at them enough and attacking them enough. They're taking enough damage that one of them sounds a horn and they start retreating. They're pulling back. Our cargo isn't worth this fight, basically. But Selwyn is still plummeting as we're flying further and further away, faster, trying to outrun them. And thankfully, Selwyn has a spell called Dimension Door that we've seen her use before. So she lets go of the Aarakocra, casts Dimension Door on herself, which then puts her right back on the ship. So she lands hard, but she's back on the ship. We didn't lose her. And Hadessa makes kind of a bit of a pained expression. She's struggling to hold concentration on these fire elementals, especially with 2 of the balloons punctured. So Ava, who's still an eagle at this point, carries Selwyn down to the balloons so she can cast some mending to fix at least the smaller tear on one of them, which helps us be able to regain altitude and take a bit of a short rest.
Yeah.
So at this point, the many mishaps we've encountered have delayed us a bit. So we're still a few hours out, even though we're at like hour 8 at this point. And suddenly we hear a loud grinding noise, and the hum of the propellers stops, and a puff of smoke comes up from the side of the ship. Quinn and Callie go check it out, and they managed to fix it. It was just like some stuff from when the birds tried to jam it earlier, basically. So they managed to fix it, and the propeller is working again without too much issue. So that's good. And as we fly, we're taking care of Hedessa, making sure, because this is longer than she anticipated going with all the delays. So some people are giving her like some boost spells to help her be able to continue to hold concentration and keep her strength up, essentially, concentrating for this long. And by hour 10, we're like almost at Ohana. We start lowering altitude and getting ready to land in. And there's islands below us that kind of lead to a beachy shoreline, and then a hilly landscape with these kind of silver bark striped trees. And it's kind of unfamiliar nature from what we're used to, but it's cool looking. And Alhana is kind of a similar city to El Alanor. So El Alanor was where a lot of the high elves live, and it's kind of like a snooty city, basically. That's where we met Prisoner 61 and like the King and Queen massacre happened a long time ago. That's where Selwyn's from. Mm-hmm. And it's El Alanor is not a very welcoming town. And a bunch of elves here, where it sounds again. Yeah. More vehicles.
I don't know why it's like construction central up front for no reason. Sorry.
Yeah. A bunch of elves from El Alanor eventually decided, like, this town sucks. Everyone's snooty and rude. Let's leave and make our own town. And that became Alhana.
Okay.
So Alhana is kind of the friendlier version of Alanor, basically. And it looks like a really nice little welcoming city. It's got some turrets and towers and stuff, and it's blending in with the surrounding landscape, but not like it's disguised within its landscape or anything. And Eurus attempts a water landing. And as we lower altitude, we don't seem to be slowing down, as one might expect. So we land really hard and fast, but we're okay. The ship stays intact, so that's all right. And we sail into this kind of dock that extends out from the beach. And Captain Eurus kind of readies a little skiff to take us to the docks and get us to land, and asks us if we're going to need a ride back after we're done in Alhana. They're going to be here for a few days if we do, so we can always come touch base with him if we need to head back or wherever, and then pays us 10 gold each for being crew members. So that's great. We love getting
you guys are always in need of a little cash money.
Always in need. And honest work, is always good as well.
Not stealing or tricking. Right.
Yeah. Although I feel like this group doesn't do that too much. We mostly get hired for jobs. So we've been okay.
True.
The other group is much more loot the body. Yeah.
Sneaky.
So we head towards town. We're going to look for a city map and see where we need to go. So we head to the town square. There's like shops and kiosks all around, and everybody's like super friendly with each other. It's a bigger town. Like, it's not like everybody knows each other personally, but they're just friendly and nice. And we're like, cool. It's great to be in a place that's nice. And someone mentions we're looking for a person with magical abilities named Aelwyn Onus. And I'm like, okay, cool. So we need to go find Aelwyn. So one of the kiosks seems to kind of almost be like a tourism kiosk. They're like welcoming people and giving directions. So we head over to them, and someone asks about this person, Aelwyn, and they don't know who exactly they are, but recommend trying either Billiam's School. Billiams is the best choice for you. That's their catchphrase, apparently, and you can't say the two of them separately. Or the council buildings, and we'll probably be able to find them in one of those places. And then Kaylin asks about Wynn, who was a man that she met at the ball, who was also just kind of wallflowering around, and then started chatting with her. And they were just kind of like a random sort of mysterious person who were kind of weird, but in a way that intrigued Kaylin. And we're from...
I think I remember this.
Yeah, they were from Ahana, and they were asking about Kala at the alchemy shop, like, way back when. And so I may have accidentally sent, like, an assassin to Kala, but she wasn't super nice to us anyway, so I'm not too heartbroken with it. But He's from here, so I asked about him, and just to see who he is, because I'm interested. And they're like, oh yeah, Professor Wynn. Last they heard, he was out of town on sabbatical. Apparently, he's a favorite teacher at Williams. He's a researcher there, but he takes a lot of trips. So I'm like, okay, that's interesting. He's out of town, but good to know. That's fun. At least he's sort of legit, I guess, maybe. So we decide to head to Billiams School and see if we can find this Aylwin person there. Billiams School, Billiams is the best choice for you. It's a tall square building with this like large wrought iron entry gate in front, and there's students of all ages milling about, like little kids to big teenagers and stuff. And we head into the building labeled administration, where a dressed looking young woman is behind the reception desk, and we ask about Aylwin, and she kind of checks her references and stuff to find information. Aylwin is the professor of planes and geography. Planes, not as in airplanes, planes as in planes of existence.
Yes.
Just in case. So she's a professor there. Isn't full-time, doesn't have an office, but she should be giving a lecture right now, so she's probably on site. And she points us to the right building and room for where we should be able to find her. And we head towards that building. It smells of like old books, and from the outside it looks maybe 3 stories tall. And then we get inside and get to the staircase and look up, and it just seems to go on forever and ever and ever. So there's some kind of magical thing happening to make this building bigger on the inside. It's like a TARDIS for people who are into Doctor Who. I know you're not, but
I know enough about it though. I get it.
But thankfully we don't have to climb up all the stairs, because an elevator opens and a bunch of students come rushing out, and we're like, we will take the elevator. So we head on. Turns out the floor we're looking for is in the basement, so thankfully we didn't go up all those stairs. We head down to 27 basement floors, and as the attendant at the elevator lets us out, they say no running in the halls, and then the doors close behind us. So naturally, Selwyn and Kirion start bolting in the direction of the room that we've been sent towards. And Kaylin kind of, malicious compliance speed walks her way down the hallway while Ava...
I'm not running.
Exactly. Or you could skip even, potentially, maybe. I know all the tricks. We know all the tricks. But as Selwyn and Kirion are bolting along the hallway, the runner rug rises up and tries to trip them to enforce the no running rule.
That's so funny.
They manage to dodge it because they're pretty nimble. But we get to this room, and there's an elvish lady at the front who's lecturing in front of a class of students. And as she's teaching, the room will like morph into the plane or the thing that she's talking about, so you can actually see it, which is pretty cool. And Kirion and Selwyn slip in to catch the end of the lecture. And it's very clear, just as we're in these buildings, that we as a party don't really fit in this academia world. We're a little misfit over here. So when the lecturer dismisses her class, she kind of, I guess, zeroes in on Selwyn and Kirion, and they all come out together where the rest of us are waiting in the hallway. And she's chatting with us. And Selwyn pulls out, the earring that her mother is in and asks if this lady, Aylwin, can help us. And apparently an earring like this, an enchantment like this, is going to either have something to do with a sorcerer or a demon of some kind. And we may need to be involved in traveling to the plane of hell to deal with it. But she's interested in helping us and would like to hear more. So she's like, hey, I'm going to skip my next lecture. Come with me. Let's figure out some stuff. And guides us out of the building and brings us to kind of a nearby park garden area where we all sit down together. And she starts chatting about what she knows about this kind of magic and stuff. And it appears we're involved in a very powerful magic and possibly hell, and have been sent to her. And she specializes in planes and has been to hell herself. We were given directions to her from... We're under the impression Selwyn's deity. It's a friend of Selwyn's deity. So it should be fine. But hell is a little unexpected to be going to hell. But she can help us and asks for any details.
Is it Chalant there?
It's Chalant as hell. Des is wearing a shirt that says I'm Chalant as hell on it. Yeah. So we give her this earring to take a look at while we explain to her what we know. And Selwyn gives a brief description of Prisoner 61, the pink guy. and describes him as a demonic warlock, which apparently a tip-off from Eldeth's friend mentioned this guy might be a demon. We'd all assumed Prisoner 61 was like an El Alanor prisoning experiment gone wrong or something, but apparently not. Apparently he's involved in hell. Yeah. So Selwyn explains what we know about him and his ties to El Alanor and the prison, his murder rampage and everything there. And
the
massacre, you know, like you do. And Aylwin says if Prisoner 61 trapped Selwyn's mom in this earring, it has demonic energy on it, so it seems it's probably related to him somehow, then we're going to need to either travel to where it was created or travel to the source who created it and destroy them to save her. So she can get us there if we're planning to go to hell, and can put a spell on the earring that will guide us to the source.
You ever really plan to go to hell?
We're planning to go to hell, you know? We don't want to get there accidentally. We're going to make sure we get there. Yeah. So this spell will guide us to either Prisoner 61 or the source of his power if it wasn't him directly. And magic in hell might not be super stable, but it shouldn't cause any ill effects or anything. The earring should be fine. Someone's mom should be fine.
Good.
That'll be okay. And Selwyn mentions, you know, Prisoner 61 is going to be out soon, because I think she'd mentioned this to us in character. We've been okay for the last couple weeks because Prisoner 61 was held in kind of like a pocket dimension away from us, so we knew he wasn't going to be chasing us down in the last few weeks. But the time that he's able to be held there is sort of running out, so we know he's going to be out soon and coming after us. So we've got
no indefinite pocket dimensions.
No indefinite pocket dimensions, unfortunately. So we've got a bit of a time crunch before he finds us once again, presumably. And basically, the longer someone's mom has been in this earring, the harder it is to get her out, but the easier it is to track the source. She's been in there like probably about a month or so now. So we're going to be able to track Prisoner 61 with her instead of him just tracking us this time. And Aylwin can get us some information about hell, help us plan. We could either do a summoning spell and bring Prisoner 61 or the source of the magic to us, but then risk releasing whatever that evil is on the material plane, which seems like a bad idea. Or we could get plane shifted to hell and then have to go fight whatever the magical sources on their home turf in hell. So that's the decision we have to make right now. And we're going to take the night to think about it.
Get back.
But Aylwin can help us with that too. So we're gonna think about it, and she can help us plan, and we'll move forward from there, basically. And that catches us up to September. So we'll take a pause there for today. Goodness gracious.
I mean, very exciting.
Yeah.
But scary. Not even like scary, but like...
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I'm glad you made it through your cross-ocean journey. Yeah.
We made that 62.7% chance.
That's... Maybe the percentage went up because it was successful.
There was more crew members. Well, our DM had us rolling an encounter check, so rolling a d20 to see what would happen each hour. And so the first 4 hours we rolled really well and it was calm and fine. And then after that we rolled for a mishap like every single time.
Oh no.
Back a little bit. But we crashed the ship.
Was that before your dice went really off the rails?
I don't know now. That was a long time ago. My dice have been super unpredictable. They were okay for a couple weeks, and then we haven't played campaign 2 in a while because of scheduling stuff. And then I had a game, I guess last Thursday, and they were awful again. They were terrible. And I was like, guys, we just worked up to being good again. And so they were mad at me. So we need to go to like counseling together. I think couples therapy with me and my dice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting. I'm disappointed that Pink Guy is... I mean, I know it was expected, but I'm sad he's back so soon and so scary. You have to go essentially get to hell and back.
Yeah. That's definitely the direction we're leaning, because bringing him or his source of power to the material plane seems like a bad idea.
Yeah, because he went crazy last time.
Yeah, like we could still, summon to a very specific place where we had as much control as possible over the environment, but there's always the risk that clearly we've never been able to defeat him before. We met him in Alinor, where we were soundly defeated, and he did a massacre. We met him at the end of the Feywild. If you remember, he chased us in the Feywild, and then as we were trying to teleport out of there, suddenly he appeared and like literally killed us all, and then seriously reappeared. So yeah, it feels almost like we're not going to be able to beat him. I don't know, but we gotta try.
All for Earring Mom.
All for Earring Mom. Poor Earring Mom.
That's so funny.
Like,
well,
moving castle, little emerald earring.
Yeah, literally. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. So yeah, what have you got for me in your notes?
I don't know. I think, well, there was a lot of interruptions for Bizarro time, but essentially, I've said them all. Earring Mom.
Yeah.
Well, like prior to that, established that Kirion was fully rescued and Primrose is gone now.
Gone. Good.
But then, yeah, Earring Mom. You're going across the ocean.
Yeah.
We had to be very clear about what the bird people look like.
Yeah.
But I wrote Snowy Owl friend / not friend. Not friend. Before I found out. I was like, Snowy Owl friend.
Yeah. Well, that's what we thought at first. We're like, oh, cool. This is fun. This is not fun anymore.
No. And then, the whole attack, got through that.
Yeah.
Got to a new city and a better city.
Yeah.
So that's good. Cool. Not so hostile as the other places you've tried to infiltrate. I guess, you just had a small list of people to find. Found them at the school.
Billiam's school is the best choice for you.
Yes, I didn't write that down. I feel like those things are the things you should write down, like important, key, like very clear.
That's not important to the plot, though.
No, but it's like, it's a place that's like, that is the place, instead of a vague, like, school.
It's fine.
It's fine. But yeah, and then just my last note was going to hell and back.
We got this, folks.
I hope you make it. I'm excited. I'm scared.
Yeah.
I think, but like, yeah, I definitely have to get in the mind of this group of people, because they're not the same as, so I'm not going to say anything bad about the other. They're not the same as Campaign 2. I feel like they make a little bit more informed decisions.
Well, I mean, yes and no. I think the chaos we're presented with is just very different.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But with Campaign 2, you guys...
Yeah.
Sorry, what?
We try to plan with Campaign.
And I feel like at least you guys know each other a little bit better. You don't know each other in Campaign 2. Every second, you're like, what's going on within the group?
Who are you again?
Literally, how did you do that? How long have you been able to do that? So,
secrets just keep everything fresh and interesting.
I feel like this group is just a little bit more, has each other's backs wholeheartedly and intentionally.
Yeah.
And you're definitely, there's some characters who like to be a little mischievous, but they don't do it to the intentional downfall of everyone else.
No, that's true. Yeah.
So
Kirion can sometimes dance on that line a little bit, but we try to keep him in check.
Yeah. Very true. Yes, very, very true. But essentially, you guys are just a little bit more
tight. So, if one party if you had to choose campaign 1 or campaign 2 to go to hell, I feel like campaign 1 is the right choice.
Yes.
Basically.
I wouldn't. Yeah. I feel like all of your in campaign 2. No, yeah. I don't think we've ever really like done comparisons. But campaign 2, there's a lot of like battle, but you're like, we're going into battle. Here you're like, we need to get somewhere for something with some people, and we don't know how, but it works out better. Because even though that's the thing, campaign 2, you know exactly what you're going up against, but everyone in the group doesn't know what's going on.
Over plan in campaign 2. That's the issue. We plan ourselves so much, we unplan, basically, and then everything just goes to shit.
Or maybe you're each individually have one specific plan and nobody shares what that is. I don't know if it's over planning. You just all have different plans.
We're not cohesive yet.
I don't know if you'll ever be cohesive because you don't even know what's going on.
One day we'll have bonfire chats. See, that's the funny thing with campaign 1 though, is I can't remember it being super intentional with campaign 1 either, where we got to know the characters. I guess people were just more naturally open about things rather than being intentionally secretive about them.
There was a lot more transparency. And even like the earring mom thing, you're like, it's not like you got somewhere and then she was like, oh right, my mom's an earring. You're like, my mom's an earring, we gotta figure this out.
But also she's had her mom in that earring for like a month.
That's true.
Just been carrying her around.
That is very true. So essentially everyone's the same. Everyone's the same.
Everyone's got their own problems.
Yeah. Well, it's all very entertaining to me either way, and I hold each character dearly.
It is nice to be back chatting about campaign 1.
Yeah.
And now we're all caught up to like September for campaign 1. So
that's good.
Yeah. It feels, with this stuff, when I was going through my notes, I was like literally having to remind myself of things that were going on. But once we get to September stuff, it's so much more fresh that I'm like, oh yeah, I remember this happening. I remember little details that weren't even necessarily in my notes that are fun. So
that's good. Yeah. Well, looking forward to it. Can't wait to hear what happens next. So thank you for joining us.
Hey,
we will be back sometime when we can to catch up. And we're gonna roll. What?
Drop a dice, actually.
Have you gotten any new?
No, I haven't gotten any new since we last played.
Well, okay, you've gotten 3 new sets more recently, right?
Yeah.
The mini ones and the 2 other ones. So which one haven't we rolled from your...
You're expecting me to remember what dice we rolled?
We haven't rolled the green and black one.
Black one? Okay.
Maybe we have, I don't know.
All right. Be nice. Be nice.
Be good.
Be good. Be kind. Okay. It's a nat 20.
What?
We've never had a nat 20 before.
No, and we've been below 10 for the past year, I think. That's amazing. Yes, yes, wow. Yes.
That's so exciting. What a way to finish a comeback to campaign 1. Maybe that's what the dice were telling us. It was too long without campaign 1.
It was.
Oh. Well, here we go. Balance is restored.
Everything will be better now.
That's good.
Okay. Well, exciting and good things ahead.
Yay. Thanks.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Now this is a story all about how my D&D parties came about. And I'd like to take a minute, just sit right there, and I'll tell you this week's adventure of a Bard and Ranger.
Are you're gonna be the one to do the podcast today? Yeah, you're gonna tell Des all about campaign 1? Okay. You give that a go. I'm excited to hear it.